Okay, so essentially, this video is more of just discussion. It's like a video journal, I guess. And I just have this thought, and I'm like, I don't know how to get it out. But essentially, so I was watching the commentary of La Ventura, and I was like, I keep watching this film because I don't understand it, and I'm like, not that I think I should understand it, or that I want to like be cool and like, oh yeah, like this is the best film ever, but like it interests me that people are able to pull so much from it and are like, yo, this is like super crazy. This is a new visual film language, because if it's there, I want to learn it, learn what the language is, and then like maybe one day create my own. So there's that. So I'm sitting there and I'm like watching it, and she's talking about it, and I'm still like, yeah, I don't really know what's going on. I've seen this film like maybe 3 times, maybe, and now on the commentary I still don't know what the fuck's going on. And so I'm thinking about the visual thing and how like he doesn't use music in this film except for like maybe one time. It said like when they were on the island right after Anna like disappears. And I begin to think, I'm like, what? Like 12 Angry Men's a good movie, but it's like a glorified stage play. And I'm like, they say that La Ventura, I say they, and this is what the commentator said. They were like, this means film is like, its own art. Like it could stand up there with like the works of like, I don't know, of like, of fucking, I don't, like, shit. What was my channel? Oh, it can stand up there with like the works of like some of these art people who, paint these really cool things like Van Gogh or something. And I'm like, that's really interesting because it's like, I feel like how do you, I kind of had the question, I was like, how do you separate film from theater? Like, why is it always told so heavily on like the vocals, like language, like spoken word, and like told narratively? And I guess it's kind of like what Antonio was getting at, but that I kind of diverge completely from that because I don't understand like how he was actually getting at that. And like I guess this has been answered before, where like David Lynch is like, oh, words are futile, or like the silent films and stuff like that. But it's just like, why always this narrative like structure? And then I'm like, so like for instance, me, right? Like I haven't made any films, but I'm working on it, in the process. And I'm like, what, like how do I redefine it? Because I kind of feel like this is all feeling. Like preface, I could be not educated enough on something. This is all feeling. So like a lot of these thoughts aren't even really fleshed out. There's just like, I feel a certain way. Like I feel like film is still, and theater are still kind of interlinked. Like I feel like they're still kind of the same thing. That's like why I'm posting that video, because I'm like, am I wrong? Does someone else feel this way? Will anyone see this? It's more of an outlet, I guess this is like, I gotta get it out. So anyways, in my own film, like every time, like, I've like, we've all learned how to speak and kind of how to write. And I'm like, I've taught myself how to speak, but like, that's not very, very representative of how I feel. Like, I think very visually, it's why I've always been like gravitating to film. Because I'm like, oh, I want to tell a story this way. Like, this is how I think and see things, like I just, like on my phone, I'm like always running around, like, taking little pictures of something that I like just hits me. Like it just hits me, that's all it is. Like I'll look and be like, oh, that's a cool picture, so I'll just take it. So it's like I feel like I can process through that, and it's like, how do I do that in the film? And I guess again, that's what Antonio was doing, but fuck if I know how that works. And I don't really care to know, but I am gonna study it, continue. But it's like we're still in this, I feel, this area where we have to like use words to convey the story. And I just feel like that's wrong. I don't know. I feel like film, like, and you look at it in hindsight, film is such in its infancy. It really is. But then also the way that things like have been growing exponentially in the past 20th century, it also is like taking off like fucking crazy, you know? Like, I mean, look at video games. Like, you could say it's in its infancy, but like, you know, then you've got like these wide open works like Skyrim or something compared to 25 years earlier. It was like Mario, which is, you know, so things I guess are also happening faster. So it's like you can't really use the infancy excuse, but like I think film is in its infancy mostly from the psychological aspect, where like we're still like really dealing with like a lot of these like we're kind of recycling through a lot of the same philosophical and like ideas and still kind of learning about ourselves. Because like watching some of these older films, it's like they're kind of diagnosing the same things I feel like we're still struggling with. And I feel like that's why film can kind of feel like it's infancy. Like it's almost like we're not ready to like really push film into what it can be. Mostly just because like we ourselves have not grown enough. I don't know. That's just a thought that I literally just thought of that. But to get back to the point, I just feel like there needs to be a way of which we can like tell a story visually through our own language that like the filmmaker can create. Kind of like not an overused metaphor, but like I guess like me turning on a candle means I'm mad, you know, because I'm like fucking keep doing this over and over, you know. And so it's like when a character in your film is like mad, this is his visual representation of it, and it's not really a metaphor. He's just literally emotionally on fire, you know, which I do kind of like. You know, I don't want everything to be layered in symbolism, but like sometimes it's like, you know, it's just like a part of a sense, like there needs to be a different like, it's almost like there just needs to be a different type of like language or a theory or meaning given to stuff that like we can't really discuss papers on it because it's literally in another language, which is the visual language. So it's almost like discussing what this mean, like discussing what a fire means in a film shot. You couldn't say, oh, the fire means this. You would just be like, it's there. It means something. I can't express it to you, but visually, I understand what it's saying. I know that sounds really dumb, but I guess that's maybe what like I'm trying to get at, right? Well, it's like, not actually. Here, I have this one thought. Again, I know there's a lot everywhere. This is more just like getting out, you know. If you find, I want like a comment. I want someone to say, hey, I feel this. God, I feel it. This is so fun. But I was like, I said, there's something that can only express visually. How would a narrative look different if it was only to be told through visuals? Which, again, obviously has been done before, but it's like, I digress. Why does film consist of a story? It's not theater, that's for plays. I don't like film for its theater. I like it because it's different. Songs speak different languages. They don't tell stories. Same with poems and paintings. They tell stories, just not in the way we imagine it. Like a book. Why do we tell films the way we tell books? And I guess that's kind of my gripe with like films. Like we tell it like it's a book. And it's like, do we need a beginning, middle, and an end in film? You know? Like, why can't I just go watch a film the same way that I might go listen to a song? Like, there's a beginning and the end, like sound-wise, but it's like, I go listen to So What, and I'm not like, man, the characters in the beginning really evolved in the end. It was like, that was just a good piece of music. Like, why can't film like be like that? Because I feel like it should be. I mean, I could be wrong, and obviously, like, you need talking, you know. Words can be used in the right way, but I think they need to be. I don't know if they necessarily need to be like words need to be used the way we've been taught them, or like they need to progress the story or say something significant. Because if it's told visually, these people represent like ideas. So like when someone speaks, it should be a reflection of their anxiety, I feel like, or their happiness or whatever. It shouldn't be, oh, Bob took that to the store, and then someone else is like, I never saw Bob leave the store. Where's Bob? Is he in the store? Like he disappeared or some shit. I don't know. That was really dumb. But like, I feel like it should be like, literally being like, the way like someone who's like obsessive would be like, I gotta clean. And they're like, stop cleaning. They're like, no, I have to clean. And then like, you can chill out. And it's like, no, this has to be in the right place. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be comfortable. Like, that doesn't express the story. That's just like essentially like just a reflection of that person. And I think could like add to like this person is like a piece in the bigger puzzle. I don't know. It's just a thought. I'm just like, I think this really is just like, I'm trying to like push my questions to like broader links, and like see if anyone feels this way without having like the pretentious, think this way, it's kind of like both sides. Like, when I feel like when you're really thinking for yourself, like both sides kind of give you shit, where it's like, there's the one side like, oh, you're so pretentious, and then there's the other side where it's like the pretentious people are saying, oh, you idiot, like it's meant to be interpreted this way. And then you got the people who aren't really into film or just don't give a shit, are like, oh, you pretentious asshole, you think you're better than me. Like, I feel like that's how it should be. I guess that's kind of the main goal with that. Like, you can kind of feel that tension, but still, it's like, I really don't understand, like, where the fuck are we going? Like, film wise, I don't know. I know that kind of like deviates from the question, but it's just, I feel like we need to tell things in a different way, and not to be pretentious, but I understand what Scorsese's like talking about when he doesn't like Marvel films, like I used to like Marvel films, but then I just grew out of them, plain and simple. And I don't have a problem with them now. They just like kind of don't care. It's just not my thing. But I understand where he's coming from. And it's like, I feel like there's like something out there, film wise, that like isn't good, I guess. Obviously, everybody's like, studio system's fucked. But it's like, I feel like we just need a change of pace. Like, we need some new ideas. And it's almost like, in a weird way, we could be in a good thing where it's like, you get to, I feel like, people try really hard to be deep or like experimental or weird or whatever, but it's like, we could be entering an era film-wise where it's like, you can just do whatever the fuck you want. And when someone's like, what's the deeper meaning? You're like, I don't know, I just want to do something different. And you can do that. Like, that's a really rare time to be in, I feel like, because most of the time there needs to be a reason. Like, if something's weird, there needs to be somewhat of a reason. But like, now we're getting to the point where it's like, stuff is almost so analyzed that, or at least I feel like it could be so analyzed that we can simply do things with the intention of just not having any meaning. Just like, it simply just is. Which, if, art is imitating life, that is a very, good thing, or not good thing, like very representative thing, Like, I don't understand why I feel the way I do. I don't understand why I'm always having this like mental philosophical strife when it's just like, all I gotta do is go to school, go to class, work out, yeah, like I'm taking care of myself, survival, but yet I'm having all these like thoughts, I'm like, making this video. You know, it's like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, it doesn't really mean anything to my survival. So it's like, maybe film should reflect that. And now, since everything seems to have a deeper meaning, or either aren't smart enough to understand, or something is just content. We're like at two different extremes. You got like the A24 films, which are good, don't get me wrong, I love these films. But there's so much symbolism in all of those films, you know, like you really got to read into it, and don't get me wrong, I love it. But then you've kind of got like the Marvel films, you know. It's like we're at these two ends of these spectrums of like content for the sake of content, you know, and just like over analyzing, where it's like none of them are very good representations of what like we are going to. And the only reason I say that is because at the reason you start writing or making film or doing whatever art, you know, or you know, whatever the fuck, you know, it's totally for your own. It's selfish, you know. So it's like when you want to start putting out stuff in the world. Well, I'll take that. Let me go back. It's you make it selfishly, mostly just because, as I've noticed, like from a creative standpoint, a lot of it is just like there's a lot of things that happen in my life that are random that I don't understand, and that makes me really uncomfortable and scared, you know, because I'm like, especially in the modern world where we're like constantly in a comfort state. So if we feel something that's that's uncomfortable, we immediately assume that it's bad, which is why, you know, it's important to take risk and, you know, constantly feel uncomfortable, you know, like it's a sign of growth. But it's like I don't feel like we're making film necessarily to do that anymore. So we kind of have like two things, I guess. So we have like the visual aspect, like I think it can be its own little art form, and then like the psychological aspect where it's like we're not really making film. I feel like to process what's going on. I mean, people say they're doing that, but they just kind of feel like, from what I've experienced, like kind of posh experiences. So I mean, obviously, you know, there's probably someone out there already doing that already. I'm just saying I would like to add to it. I feel like people should keep adding to that. I don't know. That's kind of, I just made this on a whim. I expect absolutely no one to see it, but if someone does, please, you know, start a discussion with me or something. You know, I'm always like, want to talk more about this stuff, you know. Like I kind of just rambled for 18 minutes. This was literally just like, I just had this thought mid-commentary. I was like, I gotta go do this. I guess for some reason I'll make a YouTube video. So, you know, or like, you know, give me examples of how I'm wrong, or, you know, what you think, or something to look into that might either like, because here's the thing, a lot of this is just speculation. These are thoughts born out of my feelings about something. So I don't have a lot of like, I could find stuff that might support my feelings, or things that might like go against my feelings and ultimately change them. So, you know, who knows? But, you know, say some shit. Fuck.